Good morning and welcome to another pre-market session with the market trader. My name is Ray, the market trader, and let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to go ahead and start with the risk disclosure as normal. Just to remind that the content that's about to be published and distributed by the market trader is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any security, company, or fund. Use of this information contained herein is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk and is not for every investor. An investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Only risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation to buy, sell futures, options, or forex, and past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right. Well, now that I've gotten through the risk disclosure here, we'll go ahead and move on to the um, financial portal here, okay, and see what news we have there. All right. Let's see. Okay, so a fair amount of news has already been reported here. We have the U.S. Initial jobless claims has been reported. Continuous jobless claims has been already been reported. We have existing home sales still coming here at 10 a.m. And then we have existing home sales again change also reporting at 10 a.m. We have the 10-year tips high yield report or be reporting here at 1 p.m. And then we have some related Trump presidential activity here, pre-recorded message on crypto. We have some additional executive order signatures there, and then we have some participation in some sort of education event here later today by our president. Okay. So, yeah, fair amount of news has already been reported to the market that could have certainly impact us. But the fact of the matter is that it's already been reported. So that's the positive here. Okay. So let's see here. Let's move on to our not portal, but the charting platform, and let's start to review the markets here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and locate my charting platform here. All right, there it is. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start off with the gold market. Looks like, again, we're in the midst of some sort of rally here. Let's go ahead and move to the daily here. Okay, so the daily, again, as you can see, we are continue to be in a very strong. I'm going to go ahead and remove some of these levels here, guys. Some things that I take a look at are not necessary at the moment. So let's do that. Okay, and we'll go ahead. I'll move all these other drawings here. Okay, so here we are. You can see here that on the daily that we've been on a continue to be on a steady climb here in the market. Okay, just kind of rearranging some layouts here at the moment, just to have both my platform and there it is. Okay, so as you can see on the daily, we continue to be on a steady climb in the market. We have somewhat of a developing bearish candle here, but it's has some wicks, longer wick here on the buy side. Take a look and see the volume delta. I always seem to be losing this here. Let's see if I can bring that up here. So volume delta for now seems to be aligned with this kind of bearish candle, but and nonetheless we remain in this bullish kind of a pattern here. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the 4-hour chart and see what the 4-hour chart has to say. We're going to go ahead and turn off initial balance here for the moment. Turn this off here for a second. I'm not sure what's causing this little blue pattern in the back. Oh, I probably know now. This one here, man. Oh, okay. All right. So you can see here of late, over the last, I guess day here, the market has been, I guess, kind of pulling back here to some degree, and looks like we've reacted away from an area that we would normally expect some sort of reaction away from here. This area of consolidation. I'm going to go ahead and draw that in here. Okay, so this area around 3040, okay, seems to be an area of interest here on the buy side. Okay, and it's also a logical area that to locate some buyers in this market here. Okay, so we appear to be reacting away from this 3040 level at the moment, and creating kind of like a reversal candle, but we still remain below our average daily VWAP here. Okay, moving on to the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. Okay, so we've gotten a series of bullish candles here, again reacting off this 3040 level that we've already kind of discussed on the 4-hour. Okay, now the question is going to be, are we going to continue to rally from here? Okay, and if so, then we need to get above I would say 3051. Okay, 3051 seems to be kind of the logical resistance area in this market. It's not only a area of some price structure here, but it is also where our average daily VWAP is located. So we're going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile. We're going to start with the start of Wednesday here. Okay, so that's back here somewhere, and drag that across to the close of Wednesday. That's around here. And you can see that price right currently is in the middle, or in the range of value from yesterday. Okay, so this is kind of this area representing 70% of price, right? 70% of price volume has been traded between 3038 all the way up to 3050. Okay, so we are kind of coming up on the edges of value. Okay, which is important for me, because I like to participate on the edges of value. Do not want to participate in areas of balance. So if we happen to make this push, then the push that I'd like to see is I'd like to see some sort of candle, okay, break this area above value. Okay, then basically this area becomes an area that I would be interested later to participate to the long side. Okay, now the thing that we need to be wary of is that we are still below VWAP. Okay, and we've had since the close of yesterday kind of a little bit of a bearish kind of move in the market. Okay, so this is kind of our second test of this VWAP location, the most recent of which we sold away from. Okay, so something to be aware of is that if we cannot hold with some volume, okay, with some volume, that this could be another area where we maybe potentially reverse from this current bullish move and continue lower. Okay, so that's certainly a possibility here. Okay, we're right at an area that where we could have price continue lower from here. Okay, VWAP is kind of our line in the sand to indicate to us whether or not we are in a kind of a bullish move, a bullish trend, or a bearish one. So the fact that we're still below it indicates to me that there's still a possibility that we can reverse lower here. Now, the second area that I'm going to be looking at here is, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and make sure this initial balance range is set up correctly. We're going to go ahead and change this to US. Okay, the US session here. Okay, so you can see here we're just starting to develop the initial balance range. The initial balance range is also another layer of validation that I make here. So the initial balance range is still forming. Okay, so we're going to need to wait for another 30-minute candle here to establish, and then see what direction does price end up, right? We are seeing a fair amount of volume, kind of come into this market, okay, to the bullish side, okay. The only thing that maybe is causing a little bit of reservation is I do have a little bit of structure here, bearish structure that needs to be broken, okay, in order for me to really 100% embrace a bullish move in the market. In addition, we're coming up on our average daily VWAP, okay, and we're still below that. I'm going to go ahead and add our anchored VWAP to this market here. So around the pivot area here, and you can see that price is above that as well. So this is kind of my way of keeping track of London here to some degree. Okay. So again, we have a kind of a mixed bag here, right, of information. And anytime we have a mixed bag, well, my view is that we need more clarity in this market before we decide to take on any sort of execution. And the clarity that I'm going to be looking for is a clear directional move here to the upside after this initial balance range is established. I'd like to see us get above 3,051. Okay, if my view is bullish, I need to see price get above 3,051. Okay. If I can hold 3,051, then I can use 3,051 as an area to maybe entertain an execution. Okay. So right now, I would say that we're kind of entering the market somewhat bullish. Okay. I see volume delta is kind of showing that there's a fair amount of interest in this market to the bullish side. Okay. So that's kind of what I have for, I'm going to go ahead and add ADR and ASR. We had a nice reversal away from the ADR low here. I'm going to go ahead and add ASR to this as well, just to see. Okay, so this area right here was a logical area for a reversal. We have some upside opportunity, assuming we get above 3,051, and that could lead us to maybe as high as 3,070, or basically the high of day or high of yesterday here at 3,061. Okay. High of day here, 3,061 or yesterday. Okay, so that's kind of what I have going into this market, gold market. Let's go ahead now and move on to the crude oil market. Okay, so crude oil market, here we are. We're going to go ahead and start off with the daily chart here. Okay, and remove some of our drawings here, and then take a look and see well exactly what is going on with the crude oil market. Well, you can see here we seem to be quite happy with the location that we're in at the moment, right? We see a lot of overlapping candles, not really a defined trend. We have been okay in a steady downturn in this market, okay, but we've seen this pattern before. We've gone into consolidation, broke and continued to break down. Right now, we continue to be in this consolidation range. Okay, is this going to be yet another leg down? Well, we time will tell. Right now, right, I know that we're in this kind of rangy behavior. We have not made any new lows, nor have we made any new highs. We just remain in range. Okay, very difficult market to trade when we're in range like this. Okay, we don't no sustained move in either direction. Okay, moving on to the 4-hour chart. Okay, so for our chart, we're going to go ahead and remove our initial balance here because the initial balance range is not yet established here. It'll open up here in about 10 minutes. Okay, so you can see on the 4-hour chart that we are in that same range. Okay, we had a move lower. This looks to me more like a retracement, okay, of this move, but we haven't broken below 66 in some time. Okay, since the beginning of the month. Okay, so the question is this going to provide us a leg down? Okay, and is this leg down going to provide us a opportunity for a bearish trade? Okay, or is this going to kind of meander in this range, in this area of consolidation, and really not provide us a whole lot of opportunity in this particular instrument? Okay, so let's take a look at the 30-minute chart, see if that offers us any further clarity. Okay, so we appear to have reversed away from this ASR low, but we have not made it above. Okay, have not. Well, we did make it above, but immediately we at the moment we got above VWAP, that was met with sellers here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile here. I'm going to locate the start of Wednesday's trade here. Okay, we'll go ahead and drag this across to the close of Wednesday's trade right about there. I'm going to go ahead and remove this box area because that's not really offering me a whole lot of clarity here. So here we are, right in smack in the middle of value. Okay, similar to gold, but I would say that gold is at least at the edges here. Okay, crude oil, right? It got to value area high, made an attempt to get above value, which would have been bullish, and that has now been met with some sellers. Okay, so this feels to me like there's maybe another extension, another move in store to the downside in this market, especially if we can get below this ADR zone or ASR zone of 66, 68. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a logical area for me to see price reach. And then maybe this area could offer us another logical bounce. Okay, something along those lines. That's kind of what I'm seeing right now. I'm going to go ahead and open up our anchored VWAP to get a sense for what London kind of was able to do with this market. So again, London is also bearish, right? Our price remains below VWAP. Okay, both our anchored and our daily VWAP. Okay, so again, going into this market, we have to think, I guess, a little bit more bearish, right? Now, we've broken some structure here to the downside. We got to a point here close to value area low and reversed. Okay, now the question is, are we going to continue lower? Okay, or is this going to be an area that remains a demand zone? And we in order to remain bullish, I guess, we need to see if price can get above. Okay, price can get above 67. Okay, 67 is kind of my line in the sand here for any change in sentiment in this market. Right now, my view is that we are going to continue lower. Okay, in this market. All right, and then we have some reference levels below us, right? The 66, 68 that could be supportive. Otherwise, we have 66.20 as another area that could potentially be supportive. So these are my two areas. I think right now, I would say that my view is that we should continue with the pattern here, all right, and continue with what structure is telling us, and see and look to maybe participate in this move to the downside. Now, again, if we manage to get above 67, which is not out of the question, that's only about 25 ticks, and we're starting to see a little bit of candle formation here that's offering us some indecision as to whether it wants to continue to the downside. Okay, we're about 7 minutes away from this initial balance range establishing in this market. So my view is that we're going to go ahead. I'm going to remain patient, wait for the initial balance range to establish, and then at that point, look to see what direction price moves away from initial balance before I take on any sort of opportunity here. Okay, all right. Let's see if there's anything else that I've overlooked here. It doesn't appear so. Okay, so I've identified a couple of locations for some bullish trades. Okay, but I also understand that I'm not in a trending environment at the moment. I'm in kind of a ranging environment. Okay, so I would probably be best served in kind of fading either side of the range. That would probably be the mode if I were to trade it. That would be kind of the mode that I would look for. Okay. All right. Moving on to the market of everyone's interest here, and that is the Nasdaq. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the Nasdaq here, and we're going to take a look at the daily and see. We obviously got a reaction in as a result of yesterday's FOMC statement. Okay, but really hasn't. Okay, we got a bullish, kind of reaction from that report. But now we have again we're back inside. We have an inside candle inside that daily range. Now again, the question is, are we going to sustain above? We have yet been able to. Okay, so far every attempt to go higher has been met with some sellers. So again, it appears that we should continue to look for opportunities to take the market back to the downside. Okay, I'm not seeing any sustained move here to the upside, right? So we've broken some structure here, met with some sellers. We had an attempt to go higher here, again, met with some sellers. So rather than fight that move, right? We need to figure out ways that we can participate in the move, all right? And I would say it appears to me that the market is still somewhat bearish, okay? I'm not seeing enough in structure here to indicate otherwise, okay? Moving on to the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, here we are again. I think I've probably mentioned this in the past. This pattern here looks more kind of corrective rather than impulsive. Okay, this is more of a corrective move, right? So we've had a move lower, right, and now we're kind of retracing back. Okay, maybe for another leg lower. Okay, now the thing that we haven't done of late is that we haven't really broken any sort of structure here to the downside. In other words, we have not made a new low, right? Every time we come into this area of consolidation, so far has been met with, at least with the current candle, has been met with some buyers. You can see here that even the volume delta bar is indicating that there is some interest around 19,000, let's say 750. Okay, there seems to be some interest here around that level. Let's go ahead and move on to the 30-minute chart. Let's take a look and see where price is in relation to value. Okay, and let's see. What I'm going to go ahead and open up my fixed range volume profile to start and kind of get a sense for where price is in relation to yesterday's value. So that's my first order of business here. So I'm going to go ahead and locate that, drag that across to the close here. Okay. And you can see that we've extended. Okay. We did extend below. All right. We did extend below value, but notice how we have not been able to hold below value. Okay. So that's kind of a subtle thing. Okay. But this initial attempt, you would think that after such a strong candle to the downside, that it would be relatively easy to see an extension to the downside, but that has not happened. On the contrary, price has not been able to close below value. Okay, so that's kind of an interesting thing for me. Okay, now for me, I would say that this could obviously the bottom of our ASR low. Okay, could offer us a location. You can see that we're kind of curling away from it. Could offer us a location for a continuation move to the downside. Another area, okay, is right around VWAP. Okay, this is another logical location where we can see price, kind of continue on its path here. Okay, we see that price is below value. Okay, indicating that there is a fair amount of bearish activity, but the fact that we have not been able to close below value, I think that's something that we need to make note of. Okay, we're about I don't know, looks like about a half hour away from this market opening. I'm going to take the more conservative route rather than take on any sort of execution here prior to the market and wait for this initial balance range to establish, and then decide what direction they want to take this. So you can see kind of the start of this move that we made here during London. That price remains below that. Okay, if we start to close above both these anchor VWAP and daily VWAP, well, maybe then it opens up the door for maybe the high of yesterday. Okay, So that's kind of what we're up against. So for now, I would say that I'm kind of entering the market here. We're looking to enter into the market on the bearish side. Okay, I do understand that I have a level here at around 19,715 that could be supportive. Okay, but I also understand that I still am and remain in some bearish structure here. Okay, so I've got my ADR and so we have ADR ASR high here at 20,240, ASR low here at 19,843, which price has already made below that. Okay, and yeah, so I guess entering this market, in this case, the Nasdaq, my view is that it will continue to be somewhat bearish. Okay, would have to start to see some breaks above some of this structure here in order to kind of begin to embrace this whole area. Could be above here, could be a zone of bearish activity. Okay, let's see if I can. I was going to go ahead and see if I had my settlement price. Just kind of curious to see where settlement is. Let me go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so settlement was down below here. Okay, let's change the color here to something more suitable for me. And we're going to go ahead and change it to gold color. And then we're going to make it more of a circles. And we're going to intensify that a little bit. Okay, so there's settlement price. Okay, so again, that's another logical area for price to reach. Okay, and potentially reverse away from. So right now, going into the market, I would say that my view remains bearish, and I'll be looking for some bearish opportunities. Okay, moving on to the ES here. Okay, moving on to the ES, we're going to take a look at the ES. Good morning, Ferdor. ES. Okay, so starting off with the daily chart here, looking at the daily, we're going to go ahead and remove our drawings here. There it is. Okay, so again, if all we had to look at was this kind of series of candles, I'm sure everyone would agree that we are in a bearish trend. Okay, so now the question becomes, where can we participate and manage our risk? Well, right now we have a developing bearish candle. Okay, every attempt that we made so far has always been met with some sort of selling here. So on the daily chart, I'm sure everyone would agree that we remain in sort of a bearish tone in this market. Okay, looking at the 4-hour chart. Okay, 4-hour chart, we're starting. We have our series of candles here. We did temporarily break some structure here to the upside. Okay, what's interesting is that we have not been able to close back inside this area here. Okay, which is interesting for me. Okay, so this area around 5640. Okay, has not been closed back inside. Okay, so we haven't really broken any significant structure recently. Okay, another level here around 5675. Have not broken any structure here recently that would give us an indication that this is in the horizon. Looking at these series of candles and looking at the fact of what I'm seeing on the daily chart, that seems to me the logical path for this market is to eventually break below 5670, okay, and below this 5640 level and continue and revisit maybe 5500, 5510. That's kind of what I'm seeing on the 4-hour. Looking at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, we have price kind of hovering at the edge of ASR here around 5700. So we made it up to ASR low, and now we're already kind of making again another turn appears to be to the downside here. Okay, we're going to go ahead and add our fixed range volume profile. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see what this volume profile tells us here. So we're going to go ahead and start off with the 930 bar from Wednesday, drag that across to the 430 bar. And you can see right now that price remains inside value. Okay. So the fact that we're inside value indicates that, there's still a fair amount of price, that we're in an area of balance. So I'd like to see us, if really I'm going to embrace a continued short, okay, then I'd like to see price make a new low here at 56, let's say 56.77, okay. And then at that point, maybe I get, some volume behind it. I can then use that same level as an area for me to entertain a short, okay. So that's kind of where I'm seeing. So I'd like to see price get through this value range. And right now we seem to be on the lower third of that range. Okay. So the lower third of that range indicating that there's probably a little bit of acceptance going on with price here at these ranges. Okay. Fair amount of volume to the downside. Okay. So the question for me is just a matter of time. Okay. I would say for price to continue into the downside. Now, if we do manage to hold ASR low and value area low, and we break, say, 57.12, okay, that's kind of my next logical. If we close above that, then maybe we start to get into more of a change in direction in this market. But price remains below our VWAP. Price is below our anchor VWAP. Okay. So as long as price remains below, we have to continue to think below. Okay. In this market. All right. Okay. Let's see. Let me see if there's anything else that I should be calling out here. We're going to go ahead and let's see. I think that's pretty much what I have for the ES. We're going to close out this session in our review here with a discussion of the Dow here. Okay. Again, we'll take a peek at the daily. Okay. It seems very much aligned to what we're seeing with the other equity markets here. Okay. So again, we seem to remain in this kind of bearish structure here. Nothing really indicating to me that we've broken structure to the upside. Volume delta seems to be aligned with continued move to the downside here. Okay. So daily is pointing lower. Okay. And let's take a look at the 4-hour. Okay. 4 hours telling us the similar kind of thing. Okay. So I would say that really to embrace these short, okay, we need to see if we can get below 41,911. Okay. Looks like this 42,000 level is a supportive level. Okay. So 42,000 seems to be supportive for now. If we do manage to get below, say, 41,900, that could open up the door for price to get down to 41,509. That's kind of what I'm seeing here in this market. All right. Looking at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart. Okay. We just crossed below our ASR range at 42,121. And then found some buyers here. No surprise here, right? Well, this is an area where we've seen some buying in the past, right? Price came down to that level and temporarily reversed away from it. Price continues to be below our VWAP. And if I go ahead and draw my anchor VWAP is going to pretty much tell us the same. I'm going to go ahead and open up our fixed range volume profile for the start of Wednesday. And that is also telling us that similar to what we were seeing in both the NASDAQ and the ES, price remains in balance. Okay. So we're inside value. Okay. Indicating that there is there's some basically balanced interest in this range. Okay. So again, nothing here is currently telling me that I should look for anything other than a bearish trade. Okay. We had a strong push to the downside. We had an attempt to go higher. We reversed away from VWAP here. And my view is that the Dow is going to continue to the downside. Okay. Dow is going to continue to the downside. No pun intended. Okay. So we have some areas below us. We have the average daily range low that could offer us probably a little bit of a kind of a bounce. Okay. So if I'm going to entertain a trade, I have to respect the fact that this ADR level below us could be an area where we could receive a little bit of a bounce before we maybe continue to the downside. Okay. But I have to understand that this is an area where there have been sellers in the past. I would be kind of more inclined, I would say, that if we do rally back, say to VWAP, okay, that would be another location. I prefer kind of selling strength than selling weakness, because by selling weakness, I always expose myself to having something like this happen to me, where a set of buyers just step in out of the blue, okay, and ruin kind of my bearish trade here. It's always best to kind of wait for price or wait for a pullback, regardless of whatever direction, and then participate in that same direction after you receive a little bit of a pullback. But heading into the market, I would say across the board for equities, I'm going to say bearish. Okay, we're going to take a peek here at the gold and see kind of what my view of gold is here. Gold also appears to be somewhat bearish here. Okay, we came up to the VWAP level, and that's been met with some selling. Okay, and then ultimately the crude oil market, just the last kind of quick look here, is also appears to be somewhat more rangy than the other markets. Okay, but bearish nonetheless. Okay, so looks like overall, I would say that we're kind of heading into a market across the board that appears to be somewhat bearish. And so we need to, again, as risk managers, we need to locate levels, locate opportunities that are aligned with the sentiment, but where areas where we can actually manage our risk. So with that said, we'll go ahead and close the session. Wishing everyone a successful trading session today. And as we say, trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. Have an excellent trading day, guys, and we'll talk soon. You're welcome, Ferdor.